Hey there. Today we're going to learn how to subtract multi-digit numbers, specifically numbers that have lots of zeros in them. So if we were looking at a problem, let's say 46,007 minus 3,438. When I take a look at this problem, right off in the ones place, I see that I have more on the floor, and that means that I need to borrow before I can subtract. Well, when I look next door to take one away, I don't have anything in that spot to be able to borrow from. In fact, I don't have anything in the spot next to it either to borrow from. So I would have to reach all the way to the 6. The 6 is the first place that has a number or a digit for me to be able to borrow from. So if I took one away from that 6, that would leave it as a 5. But the one that I borrowed can't come all the way back over to the 7 yet. It would have to jump past both of these places before I was able to get to the 7. So that one that I borrowed from the 6 would come right next door and make that a 10. But now you see I have something here to borrow for this place, so I can cross that 10 out, make it a 9 if I take one away from it. That one I just took would come over here and make another 10. But remember, I'm still trying to borrow for the 7. So I would do that one more time, borrowing from the 10, making it a 9, and bringing that 1 out in front of the 7 to make 17. And now you can see I can subtract. And I know this looks kind of complicated up here. I'm going to show you another method in just a second that might make that a little bit simpler for you. So let's go ahead and subtract. 17 minus 8 is 9. 9 minus 3 is 6. 9 minus 4 is 5. 5 minus 3 is 2. And 4 minus nothing would be 4. So our answer would be 42,569. I mentioned another way that we could borrow when we have lots of zeros in a problem. So let's look at that same problem again. 46,007 minus 3,438. So again, this is the spot that I'm trying to borrow for. I can't take away 8 from 7. So what we can do is we can start looking for a number I can borrow from. And if I start here at that 0, I see there's nothing to borrow from there. I can go to the next 0 and still see that there is nothing to borrow from. And I'm going to go all the way until I find a digit that I can borrow from. And I'm going to underline that whole number that I just traveled. So I went from that 0 to that 0 and finally found that 6. The one that I'm going to borrow from the 7, I'm just going to take 1 away from this number right here. Well, this number appears to be 600. And if I take 1 away from 600, so 600 minus 1, I'm left with 599. So if I cross that 600 out, take 1 away from it, write the new number above it, that 1 that I borrowed from can still come back to the 7. And now I still have the same problem that I had before. I just didn't have to move the 10s and take away 1 from the 10. It just makes it a little bit less complicated up here. Either way is going to get you the right answer. So 17 minus 8 is 9. 9 minus 3 is 6. 9 minus 4 is 5. 5 minus 3 is 2. And 4 minus 0 is 4. Let's do one other example using that method. We'll look at a larger number with all zeros, and this time we're going to subtract 56,925. Okay, so again, I start right here, and I see that I cannot take 5 away from 0. If I have nothing, I can't give 5 away. So this is the space that I'm looking to borrow for. So starting at the direct next space, I'm going to underline that 0, and I'm going to travel all the way until I find a number that I can take away from, which right here I have 6. So I'm going to take 1 away from this entire number, so I'm going to cross that number out. 6 minus 1 is 5, and that would leave me with 9s, in every other spot. So 9's all the way across until I get to this place that I was borrowing 4. That 0 wouldn't become a 9. Instead, it would take the one that I borrowed, and that would become a 10. And now I can start subtracting and my entire problem is set up. So 10 minus 5 is 5, 9 minus 2 is 7, 9 minus 9 would be 0, 9 minus 6 is 3, 9 minus 5 is 4, 9 minus 0 is 9, and 5 minus 0 is 5. So I would come up with an answer of 5,943,075. Either method will get you the correct answer. Again, I just kind of like this method a little bit better because you don't have to write tens underneath each one and cross out the tens. It just starts becoming a little bit more complicated when you have all of those digits that you are borrowing from.